feel late to the party, but my You Create Barbie Basics neutral kit number 1 has finally arrived. I got mine on Walmart because they had the best price and the fastest shipping time, but it was a day late, so like I felt some type of way. Okay, they shipped with FedEx, excuse me, but anyways, it got here faster than it would have with Mattel. But I do have links for all of these dolls in my Amazon storefront, so that's in the description box if you want to go over there and order from Amazon. I don't know if they're going to be faster for you, but that's where I normally get my dolls, so I just put the link for that in my description. Not just these dolls, a whole bunch of other dolls that I got from Amazon and other clothing and all of that stuff. This is not like a review. I really just want to give you my first impressions of this set, especially in comparison to the set from last year. I have all 3 of those, so I think I have a pretty good idea of like what to expect. And just looking through the box, I kind of think that this doll, the skin tone, I think it matches the Aaliyah doll, but I don't know for sure, so we're going to like side by side compare them just to see. And I do plan on using all 3 of these heads, although now I'm like a little bit worried because if this body is the Aaliyah skin tone, that skin tone has no other Made to Move match. So in order for all of them to have bodies, you basically need like 3 of these. What? All right, that's for another time. Anyways, let me take this stuff out of the box. Okay, so here's the insert that you can slide out of the box. The Mattel company says this box is designed to be like a storage unit. How does that work exactly? I don't know. Like, you can't cover it, I don't think. You have to, you slide it back into the box? That's kind of stupid. Yes, I don't know what to make of that, but we've got some paperwork here on the back. Her legs are bent, so I'm assuming this pack is the one with the tall body. Comes with a stand. That's all I'm observing so far. So just to review what comes inside the packaging, they of course come with one stand for the one body, though I haven't heard really anybody mention this, but this stand is a different color than we normally see, which is like black or even white, but this one is actually beige, so it kind of goes with the theme of the neutral coloring, which I like. But the stand itself is nothing special. It's just one of those regular old stands that we normally get. And then we've got some little accessories that also come here, which is stuff like this. These elastic bands in 2 different sizes. You get 10 in total for styling the hair. You have a pair of boots, which I think these are the same design of boots that we saw in the previous, one of the previous kits. I can't remember which one. I think they had the same style in black. I don't know. Don't quote me on it, but I think so. And then we've got some shorts with the fake leather kind of material, and they have working pockets. Oh my goodness. And we've got this little shirt. I don't know what this, like, halter style shirt, what this style is called, but my girl Charisma on Charisma Doll channel, go check out that channel. I got a link for her channel in the description. Yeah, when she was doing her review, she called this the pregnancy shirt. So there's that. Some glasses, some sunnies here, aviator style. One of my favorite styles of glasses in real life. I think I have a pair like this. And honestly, I think these are the best looking glasses of the 3 kits of these dolls on the doll's face. The other glasses, I don't know. I don't know if I'll put them on a doll's face. I think they look better in the hair. And then we've got this really strange design of a headband. I cannot figure out which side is the front or the back because it's like a cascading design. And one side is higher up than the other. And it, like the way it sits on the doll's head is a little bit confusing. So, I don't know. But I do like the way it looks. Just got to figure out how to actually style it on the doll. And then, of course, we've got an array of little barrettes here that I am not excited about. They're so small and tiny, easy to lose. And these barrettes always seem to be so bulky in Barbie's hair that I never know how to place them correctly so that they actually look good. So every once in a blue moon, I will use a barrette. I don't like to do it the way Mattel does it. I'll kind of use it like, show you an example of what I did here. This here doll. So you see she's got some barrettes here just like on top of the ponytail that's already tied with an elastic band just for an accent piece. You know, I'm not going to stick it But I really can't be bothered to place them on the sides of the doll's head and all this nonsense, because they just slip and slide all over the place. They're really aggravating, okay? So I'm not impressed by that. I would have preferred to have more earrings or even like necklaces and bracelets instead. But that's only my personal preference. I'm just saying, let me tell you my preference, because that's what I would have changed. I do appreciate that we have some earrings here, but like I said, I would much prefer for these to be a set of earrings. I wonder if I could modify them and turn them into earrings. Do I want to be bothered? Probably not. Is there a way to do it? Probably yes. But that's for another day. And then the doll itself, the one that's put together already, she comes obviously with this model of the moment Marissa head sculpt already on the body. Psych, at the time when I was recording this, I called her Marissa, but she's actually Nichelle. I'm gonna correct myself again later in the video when I realize it, but FYI, this is a model of the moment Nichelle face sculpt. And then we've got the gold B chain, this print all over her shirt, which I'm not a big fan of. She's got on a long skirt that also has this it's got like 3 tones in neutrals. The top part here is like a pastel pink. And she's also wearing a pair of sandals that we've previously seen in one of the kits from last year as well. And last but not least, of course, we've got additional heads that can be swapped onto this body. And we have the Lara sculpts here, L-A-R-A, Lara, not Laura. I do not own one of these already, but I want to compare her to Teen Skipper, which I do have in a very similar skin tone, just so you can see the differences in the face sculpts. And I also have the Mermaid sculpt here that some people are confusing as Louboutin, but they are not the same sculpt, even though they probably look like sisters. They have different noses and slightly different lip shapes, but everything else I think is the same on the face. So this one is probably the one I like the least as far as the hairstyle, just the way she comes in a box. Like, I did not expect her to look like this. See how in the promos her hair is curled down? So like, where did this look come from? I don't know, but it's a little misleading. But I do love the auburn, like the reddish brown kind of hair color. Really, really like that. I wouldn't even say this is auburn. This is more like a... This is like burgundy hair color, really. I'm going to compare to another mermaid sculpt that I own as well, which is the only other one I have, who is a similar skin tone, but we'll see how similar they actually look side by side. Now, I was hoping that these girls would be the same complexion as last year's girls, because I have a bunch of spare bodies I can use that would have made it so I could give each of them their own body. But as you can see here, side by side, no. They are not the same complexion. What in the world? So I guess that speculation was incorrect. I know a lot of people online were saying that they were the same skin tones as the dolls from last year. Apparently they're not. And also the other kit that has the darker complexion than this, they're also not the same skin tone as the dark complexion from last year either. I don't know if you can really pick up in my weird lighting right now, because it's like midnight and I don't have any natural light in here. It's probably really difficult to tell, but your naked eyes can definitely tell there's a difference. This body is a little bit more tan, like a lighter tone than this one. Don't ask me why I'm filming like this. I usually have a tripod going, but like I didn't want to be bothered, so now I'm doing it handheld, and this is harder than I thought it was going to be. We've got Miss Aaliyah here, side by side, and honestly, I really think they are the same complexion. This body that I'm using for Aaliyah is not the right skin complexion for her face. It's a shade too dark. But in my lighting, I usually cannot tell. Like, my eyes can't detect the difference right away. She kind of is getting away with it because that was the best I could do for her. And I'm so tempted to pop her head onto this body instead to give her a proper skin tone match. But I'm also feeling some type of way about it being a tall body. I don't know if I want Aaliyah to be tall. But in my collection, like, she's not Aaliyah. She's a whole different person. So maybe it doesn't matter. I don't know. I have to play around with the dolls to really figure out what I want to do. But luckily for me, I did steal this easy swap neck mechanism method that I've been employing on all of my spare doll bodies. So I have like a whole tote filled with dolls that have easy swap necks now. And if you're interested in doing this, I have a tutorial for you linked right in my description, so you can also do it. because this body has the easy swap function now, I can just pop her head off and switch back and forth as much as I want if I really feel like doing it. So in that respect, I'm not committed. She's not stuck on this body. I don't have to worry about that. So that's great. So maybe I'll just test it out just to see how it looks. If I hate it, then I'll put her back onto her body with the mixed match skin tone, because it doesn't really bother me. It's very close match. I just know it's not the exact right color. So if you're wondering, after having bought your Aaliyah doll, if you'll ever see a made to move body in the right complexion for her, here we go. This is it right here. Just one more correction. At the time when I was recording this, my lighting made me see these two complexions as the same. But when I looked at the dolls in different lighting situations, they didn't look the same anymore. There was a slight difference. So I'm going to say, don't quote me on this. These two complexions may not actually be a total match. You might still see a little bit of a difference, but I think it's a better match than the one that I already have Aaliyah on at the time that I'm filming this video. What did I say? Did I call her Marissa? I meant to say Nichelle. I've been calling her Marissa this whole video. Sorry. I meant model of the moment, Nichelle. Why? The name Marissa just popped into my head. There is a Marissa sculpt, but it's actually Nichelle. Okay, so this is my most recent acquisition of the Nichelle sculpt here. They do look very similar, I'm not gonna lie. You can definitely tell this is the same sculpt. Of course, their screenings are not quite the same. The vibe of the face sculpt is very, very similar. Every time I look at a Nichelle sculpt, I always think of Integrity Toys dolls because they just have like the serious look on their face. And they really do give off this model of the moment kind of a vibe. So that part I think is super spot on. But you can see here that they are very different complexions. So you cannot use each other's bodies to swap them onto their very different shades of brown. And for shites and giggles, I decided to compare her also to my other two Nichelles. So currently, at the time of filming, I have 4 model of the moment Nichelle sculpts in my collection. For the longest, I only had this one. She was my first. And then, of course, Frida Kahlo doll came along, and I was so happy to add her. She's got a completely different skin tone. She did have a unibrow, but I erased it because this doll, Esperanza, is my new character for her. She's not Frida Kahlo, so, you know, the signature unibrow had to go. And this one I call Thais, and she's supposed to be my Brazilian girl. She's like so fierce. She kind of reminds me a little bit of Beyonce. She doesn't look like Beyonce, but like the coloring and the styling of the doll's hair and skin tone reminds me of Beyonce. Tojua here, who was the Fashion Frontier Barbie that y'all recently saw me review. Go check out her details on there if you want to see what she was like out of the box in my restyling session of her. And if you weren't aware, this doll, the hair on this doll is immaculate. Like, my favorite hair of all my dolls in my collection is so long, it is so thick, and it is so smooth. And like, all of this hair was in braids when she first came to me, but I unraveled all of the braids, and even though they're tied up in high ponytails, look at how far down the hair goes. This is insane. I love styling the hair on this doll. She's so much fun to style. Highly recommend. And then, of course, we've got our new Nichelle here, who I'm going to be renaming. I'm going to be calling her Delanaga. So, if you know, you know. These two look like very similar complexions, but they really are not. Delanaga is a little bit darker in skin tone compared to Thais. Oh, but look at the similarity they do have. They both have moles in the same part of their face. Did I add that mole onto her face? No, I think she came like that. What a strange coincidence. Wow. I did always wonder what she would look like with straighter hair. And I kind of feel like this doll kind of almost looks like she could be her with straight hair, but like with a tan. Anyways, let's move on to the other heads. Moving on, let's talk about head number 2 here, which is the Lara sculpt. Some people say it Lara, but either way, L-A-R-A is how you spell the name of this sculpt. I did have to, okay? I had to give her a little bit of a hair treatment because out of the bag, her hair is so messy. Like, it's very wrinkled and folded looking. You see, you can still see the crease a little bit. I can't stand that. I can't stand it. I'm too OCD. I just could not deal with it, so I had to go ahead and straighten her hair really quick with my little pencil hair flat iron. I do have that tool linked for you guys in my Amazon shop if you're looking for restyling tools. You know, later I'll give her a proper like boil wash, but I couldn't deal with it. So right off the bat though, I do love how laid her bangs are. There is some product in it, but it's very minuscule. It's not crispity crunchity, okay? It feels very smooth. So like it's just enough so that you can get away with not washing it out and still be able to style her hair just fine without everything getting all like flaky. And I tried this little headband on her, trying to figure out which direction it should go. I think it's this way. I think it's supposed to be with the higher levels in the front and then it cascades down, but I could be completely wrong. There might be multiple ways for you to style this little thing on their heads, but whatever the case is, I still like it. I don't have any other Lara sculpts that I can compare her to, but I will say that this face sculpt was more widely used in the like 2000s and 90s. I never had any interest in any of the older model dolls that have this face. I also think that this was a face that they used in the Barbie Basics line in general, like the original Basics. So you might have some dolls in your collection with this face sculpt. How do you think this one looks compared to those old school Laras? I could not find one that I liked from a previous rendition of this face that also I thought was worth paying the price for. The thing I love about this kit is that it comes with 3 very, very uncommonly used head sculpts, and you're getting all of them at the same time, which, you know, those of us who like to customize dolls, you know, you be scouring eBay and other websites trying to find just the head that you want because you're willing to Frankenstein the doll to make her your own, but you just want the certain face, right? So that's kind of like how this kit feels to me, other than the fact that the skin tone is impossible to match with other made to move bodies because they don't exist. But but it's a start. You got to start somewhere. Now, the doll I do have that's similar though, that a lot of people actually mistook for a Lara sculpt when this doll was first announced, is Teen Skipper here, who even next to each other, I can see how much they resemble each other. It's actually kind of freaky. They look like twins, but like Teen Skipper looks like a little bit more like younger, fresher face compared to the Lara sculpt, which seems a little bit more mature looking, at least to me. And again, in my lighting, they look like very similar skin tones, but I promise you that Teen Skipper is actually the same skin tone as the girls from the kit series number 1 from last year, and they are tanner than her. So, and what do you guys think? Do you think they look alike? So many people thought that this doll was a Lara sculpt, but this one originally, she is one of the Super Bowl dolls from last year. You had to pre-order them, and they didn't come until like way later in the year after you ordered them, which is like, why Mattel? Why we gotta wait so long? I did show you guys a review of her and the other doll that I ordered with her, the other Super Bowl doll, which had a Tory sculpt and a dark skin tone. So if you're interested in those dolls, you might want to go and look at some of my older reviews. They actually have, well, now they do. They have similar hairstyle too, because I straightened her hair bone straight, as straight as I could get it. And she's on a standard height body, so you can see there is a height difference between the two. But also this doll Lara is wearing, she's wearing heels, she's wearing pumps, so she looks a lot taller than she already is in a tall body. But I'm just very amused that there are face sculpts like this one and some others that Mattel makes that are based on a different sculpt, and they change 1 or 2 things about it and then create like a whole new sculpt with it, and they look so similar that people actually mix them up very frequently. If you guys own the Alma face sculpt that recently dropped with the Gala Collection doll, Blue Sensation, you'll notice that she looks very similar to Odile with the open mouth, and she is based on Odile's open mouth sculpt, but they changed the nose shape slightly and the lip width slightly, and then turned her into like a black girl's base features to give her that ethnic look, and that's where Alma comes from. So Alma and Odile is basically the same sculpt. They just changed a couple of things about it. So I really feel like that's what they did with her. Don't you guys think? I think Teen Skipper's face is based on Lara, and they just changed a couple of things. They really do look related. Like, this could definitely be a sister duo or a mother and a teen daughter or something like that. Use your imagination, but I definitely can see these guys being family members because they look so similar. But then again, do you see the difference though? I think where they have similarities is in the nose. The shape of the nose looks really similar to me. And the lip shape also is very similar, but kind of difficult to pinpoint the differences. It's somewhere in the lips and it's somewhere in the bridge of the nose when I look very carefully. Teen Skipper's nose, just the whole general sizing of the nose, I think is slightly wider, like a teeny tiny bit wider, but it's such a small minuscule difference you almost can't even tell. So I don't blame anybody for getting these two faces mixed up, but they are different face sculpts. There's that comparison. The last girl we're going to look at is Mermaid, and she is being dipped in some hot water right now because I need to fix her hair. Looking raggedy. So let me come back with her. So lastly, we're going to look at Mermaid here, who I tried to pull her hair out of her face because her bangs keep wanting to fall into her face. But this is what she looks like. And for her hair, I only dipped her in some hot water so that I could soften up that gel that was making her hair all crispity, because it just would not move. Didn't like rub the hair or put soap or any kind of products in it. But you can see that the curl doesn't completely come out. And you can put the curls back in if you know how to manipulate doll hair with heat tools. So it's not completely hopeless if you wash the gel out and you like that curl pattern that it had. But honestly, I could do without. So when you see her again, she probably will have a completely different hairstyle because I'm not really with it. I just left it alone because I don't want to fuss with the hair too much right now since we're just doing first impressions of the doll. Why is it that Mattel likes to do this? They like market the doll to look a certain way. Then when you get it, she's completely different looking. They did the same thing with this girl. You see how her hair is curled under? But when she came out the package, there was no curl at all. Everything was just straight and filled with gel. And if you looked at her promo pictures, her hair was curled under like this. So I had to do this myself. So I don't know what that's about, but it's a little confusing. Anyways, her face up is very simple. She has very slight makeup on her face. There is some eyeshadow going on. It's like a very light, smoky kind of eyeshadow. But it is really neutral, which I think works great because you can basically put whatever you want on these dolls without having to fuss about matching the makeup to their clothing, which could be kind of limiting if you have dolls that have very noticeable makeup in like bright colors and stuff. This face sculpt, I do really like this sculpt, even though I only have one other one, and at some point maybe I will add the Louboutin sculpt if they ever produce a modern version that I like they did with this face. I don't know, I'm not holding my breath. It's not one of those face sculpts where like I need to have it or my collection's incomplete. Like I don't feel like that. But this is my only other mermaid sculpt in my collection, and as you can see, this is one of the previous holiday dolls. And some people were saying that these two dolls look too similar, so they didn't really want to add this kit because they didn't really need her if they already had her. But you can see side by side, they actually don't look that similar. I think what's throwing people off is that their skin tones look like they might be close. And again, this skin tone is much lighter on her than with this one, so they're actually not the same skin tone, and they can't be body swapped onto each other to make a reasonable match. It's too many shades of difference, I think, for it to really work. You see the face-ups are very different. The screenings look completely different. They don't look like the same person at all. So if you were worried about that, well then here's your proof that they actually look different enough to pass as two different characters. So maybe you'll change your mind about wanting to add this kit to your collection. Obviously the hair is totally different. One has really long hair and like brown tones. The new Mermaid sculpt has the reddish hair color that's very short, so you're getting a lot of contrast in the two dolls, and I think that that's really cool that they use the same sculpt and make them look like completely different people, which is always what I'm going for if I'm going to add multiple sculpts to my collection. I don't want them to all look like the same person, just in different hair color like we love to do with Millie. Hello. They won't even give us different hair colors with Millie. They just put on a different outfit on her and then it's like, okay, here you go. So yeah, I don't want an army of dolls that all look the same with the same sculpts. So these are the differences between the three sculpts. I want to make a note also of how thick this doll's hair is. It's supposed to be a wavy texture. These are not dents in the hair from being inside the box. Her hair is supposed to be wavy. I feel like the hair could be wavy-er. Maybe I'll braid up her hair and like let the hair set and boil wash it and then like take out the braids and make it a little bit more wavy. But I don't know if I have energy to be doing all of that. So I don't know. I'm just thinking about it. But she really does look nice. So model of the moment is Shell. Now I'm calling her Delanica. Lara here. This one I've newly named her Napresia. Mermaid here, I have named her Orwin. My other mermaid, her name is Siren. Yeah, but now the dilemma is who's gonna get the body? Like, maybe none of them. Maybe Aaliyah will. What am I gonna do? I really gotta go through my stash of donor bodies now to really try to find bodies that these guys can go on, even if it's just temporarily, because I can't stand the thought of some of them not being out on display because they're trying to share one body. Like, this is the only thing about this kit concept that I really don't like. I like the idea of the floating heads, of course, but I feel like we should have been able to get options of other bodies for the skin tone. Like, even if you sold them separately, Mattel, I would understand. Either nude or dressed. If you sold the petite, the curvy, the athletic maybe even, and the standard size body and the skin tone separately, I feel like this would have been a lot more popular of a kit. I mean, all of the kits, I think they would be more popular if you would give us those options, even if you didn't want to put them all in one kit so that you could keep the price low. Because at the end of the day, if I could customize, truly customize, pick and choose which body parts I could get to put together, like, that's more money for you at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? It's more opportunities for them to sell products. So it don't take much for them to make us bodies for these dolls. I really hope someone at Mattel is listening to us, because they did listen to us about the wigs. A lot of people didn't like them. I think most people didn't like them, even though there are some people that did. But there was a lot of complaining going on about the wigs, and they definitely took heed and gave us rooted heads. So I appreciate that. So that means someone is listening. Uncle Carlisle, if you're listening, because these are Carlisle New Era's designs. I hope someone will consider giving us separate bodies that we can buy for the different dolls in these collections, you know? Even if they're just gonna match the dolls from this basics collection, it's fine. Like, let's start somewhere. So what do you guys think? If you agree with me, make a big stink about it all over your social media, that we would love to see bodies and the skin tones that match the Barbie Basics kit dolls in various body types. That'd be great. Yeah, so my favoriteest one out of the three is Nichelle. I don't know why. I don't know why she's my favorite, but she is of the three. And my favorite hairstyle of the three is on Lara here. I think her hair looks very sleek and neat once it's actually styled properly anyways. And I really like how uniform her bangs look. At least on my doll, it looks very, very good. Even though the face sculpt I like the least is probably this one, just because she has an open mouth. No other reason than that. Although I can handle this level because it's not like a super wide, toothy grin. Those are the ones that I can't stand the most. But I'll deal with it. And if you're like me and you're adverse to open mouth smiles, I also have a tutorial on how you can close up their mouths. You can see here my Debbie Allen doll. She does normally come with an open mouth, and you can see her teeth, but I closed it up because I don't want to look at them anymore. So that's an option for you if you're interested. Check my links in the description box. I did order the other kit, number 2? It's the one that has the Tangle sculpt in it with Elle and Pazette. That one should be here tomorrow, so I'll show you guys that kit as well and compare those head sculpts to other dolls in my collection. This was just a first impressions, you guys, not really like an actual review, but I will be bringing these dolls back to show you how I restyle them, and definitely if I decide to find some donor bodies for these girls to put them on temporarily, I'll show you how they turned out. So keep an eye out for that. Make sure you're subscribed over here. Thanks for hanging out with me on Broken Dolly TV. I'm Gypsy. You're not, but that's fine because we can still both go have a dolly day.